So I own Axiom's End. It's by Lindsay Ellis. She was a YouTuber and then she made some comments about, I think it was the comments about the movie. I can't remember what it is called. It's like Raya and the Last Dragon or something like that. I can't remember. But I think she insinuated that movie was just Avatar and people got upset with her about that. And now she's not on the internet anymore, which makes me very sad because I liked her videos, but people going people. So I have her book. I have both of her books because I knew I would like them because I like her. Um, it's called Axiom's End. Putting on blue eyeshadow. The main character's name is Cora. She's been feeling pretty powerless in her life lately. Her dad said some government stuff out loud, and now he's in hiding, and her family is constantly being harassed by the media and the government, and it's not great. So she's late to work, and uh, she ends up getting fired because she leaves work before she was supposed to. But in fairness to her, a meteor fell out of the sky, and I'm pretty sure her dad predicted it, and we were all just supposed to be okay with that. So she loses her job, and her dad posts some stuff in his blog about it. In between each of the chapters, there's some stuff from her dad's blog. And one of the times later in the book, he mentions his kids, and it becomes like a whole thing. But yeah, Cora ends up getting mixed up with the aliens, and she meets this alien called Ampersand. And in my notes, after a while, I got tired of writing the word ampersand and just made it the little symbol. Ampersand is the and symbol, that fancy one that a lot of people can't draw. Yeah. So she ends up getting mixed up with the aliens, and she ends up kind of becoming the liaison between Ampersand and his people and the humans. And yeah, um, hang on, because there's like this book was, I don't fully remember how long it was. I have it right here. This is the cover of her book. I don't like to break my spines, so when I read, I am very gentle with my books because unless they're like 700 pages long, I'm not breaking the spine of my book. I'm very gentle. Um, 72 pages. The softback edition is 372 pages long. That's a lot of content to get through. So, her family ends up getting taken by the government because they're trying to find her, and they think that all of them have something to do with Ampersand. They don't. Her family doesn't know what's happening. She just kind of disappeared when Ampersand found her. So, the government wants to keep this under wraps, obviously. Uh, the aliens, like, there was another alien on on Earth before, and they ended up dying, and it was like a whole thing. They didn't think it was important necessarily to communicate with the humans, even though the humans were trying to communicate with them. So they just didn't try. But now they're trying and they're learning, and it's getting pretty great. Um, Ampersand also doesn't like to be touched by her because he's like a. I wasn't sure what Ampersand looked like because one of the only out and out alien movies I have ever seen is Alien. I kind of got it in my head somehow that he was like a mechanical version of that, but he could change his form. I never got the sense that he had a human form in this whole book. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention enough, but that was how it felt. Um, Cora and Ampersand end up being able to just like talk, which is nice. Um, the reason why they're here is because on Ampersand's planet, there was, I might get this wrong and I apologize because it's in my notes, but it's hard for me to look away from the camera to keep reading, which means that I need to do these videos as soon as I'm done reading the books. Lord knows that's never going to happen. Anyway, um, on Ampersand's planet, there was something to do with a genocide happening, and he and the group of aliens that are with him were against the genocide, which means that now they get to be genocided too, is what I gathered. So, yeah. And even then, I remember the book because I like the book. So, if my interpretation is wrong, then either someone will tell me to read the book again or I'm right. So, yeah. Yeah. So, there's a genome thing that the guy chasing Ampersand and Co are being chased by another alien from their planet. There's a genome thing that he wants because he believes that if he gets it, then he'll ascend through the ranks of their planet and be able to be one of the higher ups, which I suppose is nice. Um, the genome dies, and hang on, sorry, give me a sec. Yeah, so the genome dies, and Cora ends up getting hurt and she ends up in the hospital. And I'm not saying that I couldn't see this coming, but just because I could see it coming doesn't mean I don't have to like it. It doesn't mean I have to like it. Ampersand and Cora are kind of in love with each other now. And I knew it was coming because discussions about Ampersand's lifespan had occurred earlier in the book, and I guess I just wanted to deny it because I didn't want there to be a love story because I kind of like the idea of them just being friends. But I guess I don't get to have nice things. I mean, it's not my book, so I'm still going to read the second one. Like, I own it. I like this book. I'm still going to read the second one. Um, Also, I wrote this down. I'm not sure if I can completely articulate why Nils's presence gets on my nerves. The lack of transparency annoys me, but that's the point because government. Um, I like that Cora has a realistic person reaction to aliens because, man, when people are just like instantly okay with aliens or like instantly jump to murder with aliens, that gets on my nerves because, like, what if the aliens are nice aliens? You don't know. You didn't give them a chance. Um, yeah. Um, as Men in Black said, a person is smart, people are dumb. Like, yeah. It felt, I guess part of the reason why the romance annoyed me is because this kind of felt like Brax and Carmen's relationship, like from Dragon Assassin. And they don't fall in love, they just are like brother and sister. I'm really happy that that was clarified because had it not been, I would have been very upset. But, yeah. He's not a literal dragon though, and I guess he can be. I know he can shapeshift. I know that much. I guess he can have a humanoid form, so it's not as bad as if he was a literal dragon like Brax is. So I suppose it's fine. I don't know. I got a red, white, and blue theme going on here, if you couldn't tell. I'm sure you can probably figure out what I'm about to film based on that. Um, Also, because there's some stuff that happen, like the reason why his name is Ampersand is because his actual name is not comprehensible to the human language. There are some people who I feel like think that because of the existence of things like Star Wars and Star Trek, think that that is a sci-fi cop out. It is not a sci-fi cop out. We are not all Tolkien. We can't all create our own languages. It's really difficult to create languages. So, like I've tried it like 3 different times. It is not easy. Um, yeah. I also like Lindsay's take on alien life being prevalent but not necessarily intelligent. People are always like, is there intelligent life on other planets? Why don't we start with, is there life on other planets? I think that's a good thing to start with. I'm just gonna go ahead and do this next one real quick because it's real short because I didn't get but like 35 pages in, and one of my friends is gonna be super upset because I'm pretty sure it's her favorite book. I did not like Interview with a Vampire. Um, I thought it was kind of boring, and I don't like the way the book is divided up, nor do I like the way it is written. I guess because of the way the movie was filmed, and I haven't seen the movie, but I've just seen like clips. I guess because of the way the movie was filmed, I was under the impression that this book was going to be flashbacks. And at the beginning and end of each chapter, we would jump back to the present to the interview with said vampire. I did not know that it was this boy who wants to be a vampire and is interviewing a vampire, and at the end he wants to become a vampire, but dude is like no. So then he goes off on a quest to like find a vampire who will turn him into a vampire, I guess. I guess. I also thought that this book was I thought the vampire being interviewed was Lestat. It's not. Yeah. I don't I made a list so I could so I could talk about this with some measure of organization because I really wasn't sure at all where to start. My white is so I don't know what's wrong with it. It's just being weird for some reason. I should probably blend these together, but I don't want to because I don't want to ruin the blue and the red. Ugh, God. Number one, I bought this book because of a friend. It is her favorite book, and I really need to stop. She didn't recommend it. I'm going to start there. She did not recommend it. It is not her fault that I read this book, but I did pick it up because I know she likes it. I need to stop reading the things that my friends read in high school because, man, and this includes I include myself in the statistic as well. When you are in high school, the level of media literacy that you possess is probably not super high because all you've been used to doing is analyzing things via Shakespeare and poetry. And lots of books don't need to be analyzed like that. So it's really hard to get out of that mindset. And then you read things that are the exact opposite of that, which is shallow and lifeless. And like, I'm sorry, but it's the truth. um, I can't explain why this book feels like domestic fiction to me, but this book felt like domestic fiction to me. Uh, the formatting of it is kind of atrocious because I couldn't find any like chapter title pages or whatever, not like title pages, but I couldn't find any chapter breaks, and it's kind of just written in big blocks of paragraph and text. I don't know. 50 Shades of Grey at least has entertainment value. Like, don't get me wrong, 50 Shades of Grey is like terrible, but while I was reading that book, I got in the habit of just like counting how many times she said oh my, or how many times she talked about like she separated her subconscious from like her as an entity, and it got pretty funny by the end. So yeah, I don't I don't know. I just yeah, I didn't like it. And she might be upset, but maybe vampires just aren't my zhuzh.